Now previously, we've looked back at the best and worst things of every WWE 2K video game, but now it's time to take a look back and find out what are the best and worst things of every Smackdown vs. Raw game. Now, starting off with the best in every Smackdown vs. Raw game is, to be honest, one of the easiest things because there's so much good that you can say about every Smackdown vs. Raw game that was released. The quality of each game was just that good. However, it was a little difficult in trying to pick which was the best thing out of so many options, but we've come to finally make our choices, so let's get into the first game, Smackdown vs. Raw on the PS2, which was released all the way back in 2004. But be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when we upload a video. Now, the groundbreaking feature of almost full voiceovers within Smackdown vs. Raw's season mode changed the game for WWE video game players. We had the fantastic season mode of Here Comes the Pain in the previous game, but what felt missing was the sounds of the Ruthless Aggression era superstars actually speaking their own lines. So you can imagine how excited we were that we could hear superstars such as Triple H, Shawn Michaels and Eddie Guerrero finally speaking their lines to you from your television, which absolutely added life and depth to each one of the original storylines that were made for this game. It was just awesome to get to hear all the big name personalities captured through their voice for the first time ever. Sure, we had Attitude with a few short lines from superstars, but nothing on this level had ever been done before, which made Smackdown vs. Raw a monumental release. The importance of this innovation cannot be overstated. It provided the beginnings of what we expect to see in WWE 2K My Rise to this day, and this was the originator that set the precedent for all future WWE games. Now, the only downside to the voiceovers was the silence of your own character, which pretty much made you the silent protagonist within the season mode. It was fine, however, because we finally got the next step in the evolution of season modes with voiceovers for the first time ever. We knew at that time it would only be just built upon, and that's why it's our best thing in Smackdown vs. Raw. Smackdown vs. Raw 2006. Moving over to Smackdown vs. Raw 2006, and the introduction of the GM mode was a major game changer for fans who wanted to dive right into the world of wrestling brand management. Unlike most modes, this wasn't about who could win a match, this was about using your creative wrestling brain to craft match cards, manage talent, and balance the budgets provided to become the biggest and best brand in WWE. A strategic depth to the game, making it a standout feature that appealed to both casual fans and hardcore fans of the series. GM mode's other appeal for players was the competitive edge it offered. Players could challenge friends, or the AI could see who could create the most popular show and best manage their wrestlers. It encouraged repeated play and offered a fresh perspective on the wrestling world, firmly establishing its place as the best thing in Smackdown vs. Raw 2006. Smackdown vs. Raw 2007. The Smackdown vs. Raw 07 gave us the reintroduction of crowd fighting after it was added in Just Bring It, only for it to be dropped in the next game, Shut Your Mouth. Its addition to the game was a welcome one due to how much it was improved compared to the half-baked version of Just Bring It. The game not only allowed us players to take the fight from the ringside to over the barricade and brawl within the crowd, it also allowed us to use elements of the environment to our advantage and engage with the fans by using their signs as props or even weapons. This addition provided a new level of excitement and brought an extra dimension into the in-game action during wild and chaotic matches such as hardcore matches, which set the new standard of how to do crowd fighting within a WWE game. The attention to detail in the crowd fighting areas with interactive spots and the ability to perform high-action dives off the scaffolding, even through a table that had been set up in the crowd fighting area, was just awesome. It's a feature that fans reminisce about even today, often citing it as one of the most innovative and fun aspects of the franchise. Unfortunately, its subsequent removal from later Smackdown vs. Raw games only highlighted the problem with WWE games bringing in features that players enjoyed, only to remove them not too long after. But overall, crowd fighting is our best thing about Smackdown vs. Raw 2007. Smackdown vs. Raw 2008. Now, this game's introduction of ECW and hardcore wrestling elements was a nod to classic ECW and a celebration of the revival of the ECW brand, which happened the previous year. The inclusion of ECW legends like Sabu and Terry Funk gave us characters that we would never usually see on the roster, but was necessary when celebrating the extreme legacy of the ECW brand. The game didn't just stop at ECW wrestler inclusions, it also expanded the amount of weapons that could be used and how weapons could be used. Weapons such as flaming variants of tables and barbed wire 2x4s were added alongside a brand new weapon wheel that allowed players more choice when it came to picking up the weapon from underneath the ring. But it didn't just stop at new weapons. There were brand new weapon moves added to the game, such as doing dives with chairs, putting a ladder through your head and spinning around, which knocks everyone out of sight, and the introduction of stacked tables for the first time ever in the series. Sure, SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 might arguably be one of the weaker games when compared to some of the legendary titles in the SVR series, but they did a great job in upping the hardcore wrestling aspect of WWE games unlike any before. It deserves its place as the best thing in SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. This game gave us the next evolution of season mode with the introduction of the legendary Road to WrestleMania mode. This mode offered tailored storylines that reflected the characters' in-ring personas and storylines that WWE fans were more familiar with. Gone were the days of The Undertaker trying to date WWE divas. He was now the dead man with all of his magical powers and taking souls. It was a welcome change for many, including The Undertaker himself, who had previously said he didn't want to do WWE game voiceovers anymore due to the kayfabe-breaking storylines such as the diva stories of the past. So not only were players happy about the change, even The Undertaker was. The legendary Road to WrestleMania was never about just following a single linear storyline. It was about making choices that affected the outcome with different paths and unlockables that warranted multiple playthroughs. The mode's replayability was a testament to its design, making it as a memorable addition to the franchise and the highlight of SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. Amidst the WWE's transition to a PG era, SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 surprised fans with its improved blood physics, which took things in a very unexpected direction for the series, as SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 was the first game to feel the brunt of the PG era changes, with intergender matches being banned and weapons like the 2x4 barbed wire being removed from the game entirely. So it was quite the surprise to see blood improve so much in this game, and it wasn't like anything we had seen in a WWE game before. It was truly dynamic, as it would cover wrestlers in blood and even it transferring over to opponents' chests during the matches, which represented the true brutality of when a wrestler gets busted open in a match. It was shocking, however, that this was the game to do it. The blood physics of this game really did stand out as one of the best things in WWE games when it came to realism, as it was a time when such features seemed to either be missed out or removed. The level of detail of the physics is really unlike anything we've seen before in a WWE game. It allowed blood to smear and affect the wrestler's appearance over time, which added a layer of graphical realism that had never been seen before, making it the game's standout feature and a talking point for many fans. And SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 truly closed the series with a bang, introducing a mountain of brand new features that made the game as popular as it is still to this very day. We got a brand new Hell in a Cell, the best Road to WrestleMania ever, and the introduction of Universe Mode for the first time ever. On top of all those added features, we got brand new weapons physics system which by far stole the show. It elevated matches to chaotic new levels with destructible environments and interactive elements, allowing players to hit some of the most spectacular moves and crashes, which could include up to going through 4 tables or crashing into a uniquely placed ladder, or even seeing superstars reacting to hitting weapons during the moves for the first time ever. So for example, if you hit a suplex and a superstar collides with the steel ring steps, then you seem to crash into it and react unlike any other game before. In past games, you would just see the weapon fly to the side when any kind of collision was happening. SVR 11 really did change the game when it came to weapons physics. There was also the pure freedom to use weapons creatively, like you could lean ladders and tables against various places such as ring ropes, barricades or announcers tables, which offered a sandbox-like experience of how you would set up big spots within SVR. This physics system was a fitting end to the legendary SmackDown vs. Raw series, giving fans the ability to create their own memorable moments in the ring and securing its place as a pinnacle feature of SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. But there you have it folks, the best thing in every SmackDown vs. Raw game. Do you guys agree? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling video game content.